Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. Hang out with this nerd.
Ted.
And today we're going to get punked with the Monk Paladin combination. Hey guys, jump down in the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
All right, so we're kind of just chatting around, and you're like, hey, I got this idea for a character build.
Yes, I want to build a punk.
And for those of you who don't speak Dave, he wants to make a Paladin monk.
Yeah, I was inspired. I think I was inspired by watching the Iron Fist trailers that have been appearing in my feed on Facebook, and that the glowing fist, and then it also made me think of like Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. I probably saw something like that going on, and I was like, you know what, that would be badass to be a monk that smites with his punches. I mean, because you could technically smite and stun at the same time, equaling snite, right? And you're just like, ah, boom, right? So we're trying to figure out what that build would look like, and I'm supposed to guest appear in a game, and I already told the DM I was going to be a sorcerer, but I'm like, and it's like higher level game, so it's so much better when you can just show up with and basically have all your stuff and be able to do it. Except for I believe there's a monk or two already in that game. Not that I care about that, but I don't want to come in and just totally eclipse them, and you just come in and they're like doing their monk stuff and whatnot, and then you come in as this combination, and you're just smiting with your flurry of blows and just destroying things.
Smite for you, smite for you, smite for you.
Yeah. But that being said, oh my god, there's so many characters I want to play, so I guess we need to start off with,
are we building backwards or are we building forwards?
Like, where are we trying to go? You want to start there?
So, like,
how you started off?
Obviously, whenever you're looking at a multi-class character build, it's always what's the split going to be? If the character winds up going out to 10th to 20th level, what are his levels looking like?
So I feel like this character. All right, from the storyline in my head, right? He's a paladin that, for whatever reason, just throws off all vestments of paladinhood, and he strips the armor. I just like in my head, like it's playing out somatically. As he's walking into the sunset, like the armor's just flying off. He throws his weapon away.
No, it's just totally you're seeing that happening, but you're just seeing the feet walking. Like you see the distance, but then you see like the pieces of armor fall.
Yeah, the greatsword fall, and the glaive or greaves. And the pauldron, and like the pieces of the armor just get cast off, and then and then it opens up. The next thing you know, he's kneeling. The character's kneeling, in front of a great old master in a temple somewhere, and
teach me.
Not even that. Like I see him as just being like almost like for whatever reason disavowing his. I almost see him like a fallen paladin, like the idea that like for whatever reason, or he's fallen. He's fallen and he feels disgraced, and so he doesn't feel like he's worthy of any of that stuff. And then he starts rebuilding, and he does it as a monk,
right?
Yeah, the most like, because you to be a paladin, right, just screams wealth in my mind. I mean, well, you're talking about plate mail armor or a greatsword, the steed. Knights are wealthy individuals, and the monk is like the opposite.
It's true.
It is the most humble. So you have this really diverse. Warring I want to say philosophies, but I don't think that's the right word either. But yeah, so I would love to play this character now. God damn it, when will I just play a straight, single class character? I really do feel like single class is much stronger than multi-class. It's just you get to do you can do cool combinations.
The combinations make it fun, because there's things that, hey, this would be really great together, but the only way to do it is to put the chocolate in your peanut butter, or the peanut butter in your chocolate. Right.
So for this character, because it's kind of like stat heavy, we're talking, and we're like, well, who gets the best bonuses to build this character? And then you're gonna have to go. There's two you could go.
All right.
The non-variant human, which is like almost like a curse word in our group. No one plays that.
Because the feet is just so much of a temptation.
It is. But, those +1s to everything would really help you get those stats that you wanted. And that, or half elf.
Now, half elf has the ability to say, okay, well, you want, as a paladin and monk, you want typically wisdom, dex, charisma.
But that being said, right, depending on what kind of monk you go with, how
important is the charisma?
Charisma going to be?
So that's true. You could go with wood elf having the dex and the wisdom bump, and you get that extra 5 foot of movement.
That's true. Or you could go the variant human
And have just +1 everywhere.
Yeah, well, the 2+1s where you want them,
And the feet.
and the feet, and if you choose the feet properly, that's a +2/+1. So that would be another way to go. So obviously, like in my mind, I have 2 ideas for Paladin, right?
All right.
One being the devotion Paladin, like, and that like makes sense on the storyline of you're kind of fallen. But then again, I kind of feel like Oath of Vengeance kind of screams of, well, you fell, but you found your way back, sort of. Because you've just become, you've switched gods, or switched where you switched oath, or switched where you're drawing your divine inspiration from, and you're kind of you're a bit more hardened and vengeful at this point.
It really is going to depend upon where you want to go with it. If you're looking for a combat heavy, vengeance is definitely going to be your thing. But if you're looking for more of the, I left being a paladin to be a monk because I'm looking for serenity and I'm looking for my path back, then like I would say I would stick with devotion, or you go with the fallen paladin, the DMG.
Yeah, that doesn't fit at all. I don't feel like the one in DMG. Like, I don't want to play. Like, I have zero desire to play an evil character.
Okay.
Or a protection starts at 6th level, and that is purely driven by. That's purely driven by your charisma. So obviously you're going to, if you want to take advantage of that, and that's important to you, and you're taking at least 6 levels of paladin, then you're going to have to do something. You're going to want something in your charisma. But, does it have to be maxed out? That is the other question. And you're also playing a monk, so you're never going to get Diamond Soul, but
is Aura Protection the one that gives you the bonus to all your saving throws?
It is.
All right. So the way I saw this character being built was 9 levels of paladin, 11 levels of monk. You do miss out on that last stat bump that you would get at 12th level monk, but 9 levels of paladin gives you access to third level smites, and that goes right to 2 of them a day. So I think that is something big that I wouldn't want to pass up. So but as a 11th level monk, you'd have access to the D8 for your martial arts. So unarmed damage or your monk weapons goes to a D8. And honestly, you have to go to 17th level to get that D10. That's not going to be enough of a split to really feel the 2 classes together. So I think that's a good cutting point.
9 and 11.
9 and 11.
I think so too. And you've been a paladin for a while. And if I was playing it, I would play I'd guess I'd want to go 3 levels of paladin, and then at that point I'd probably ditch paladin and go for probably at least 3 levels of monk. If that's the build I was going with.
So now the other option that you could wind up doing is if you want to be more paladin-y and flavor it with monk, if you go up to 6th level in monk, that's going to get you the die 6 martial arts, 6 Kai points, 15 foot of movement, a second tradition feature, as well as Kai empowered strikes. So your unarmed attack and your monk weapons count as magic weapons.
Yeah, if you were going to go that route, then I would absolutely consider going Kensei. As if you're using Unearthed Arcana in the build. Although it's not my vision, but if you're going to go higher with the paladin, that's how I would roll it. And then it would be it's not so much that you're mixing these 2 classes, but it's this is an order of that religion that does it this way. It's kind of how I would handle it. But what I have in my mind, dude, I need glowing fists. and the only way to get glowing fists is to go heavy monk, probably go with either devotion or Oath of Vengeance. I'm thinking more Oath of Vengeance. also kind of flavored from the Iron Fist backstory as well. It's going to be fun. The ability, I think that's going to give you your Oath of Enmity from your Oath of Vengeance Paladin. So you're going to, the Vow of Enmity, that's actually your channel divinities. So you're going to get that. Relentless Avenger would be the ability other than your channel divinity that you would get. And that is, by 7th level, your supernatural focus helps you close off a foe's retreat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can move up to half your speed immediately after the attack. And as part of the same reaction, the movement doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. That's huge for a monk paladin combo because they're going to be moving very quickly.
So you're going to have roughly a 50 move when your build is done. So you'd be able to move 25 and not provoke attacks of opportunity when you do that. That's pretty awesome.
And also, you're gonna get access to Bane, Hunter's Mark, Hold Person, Misty Step, Haste, Protection from Energy, if you decide you don't want to just go pure smites. Yeah. And let's face it, Hunter's Mark at first level, every attack you're doing an extra D6.
But you're going to have to worry about it's a bonus action to cast it. It's a bonus action to move it.
Right, when it comes up.
You'd be getting that additional punch.
Well, that's true, but only when you first engage, you would cast it, and then if things drop, then you have to worry about it. But if they're not dropping, or right. If they're not dropping, you don't have to worry about it as much, and for one round or whatever.
Right. So you have to make that determination of whether that first level spell slot is worth 2 to 8 points of damage in one go as a smite, or 4 if you crit, or whether it's worthwhile to have as an extra D6 on every attack.
But on the next round, you're talking to 4d6. Well, actually, the following rounds you're talking 46. Yeah. The biggest problem is when you have to move it.
Yes, that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, and you have to decide, if it, was it worth it or not.
All right. So let's complete this build. So because we want to say charisma is important because we're going with at least 6 levels of paladin, we're gonna have to go with half elf.
I think so.
So
I mean, even if it's putting your
12 there,
your 12 or 10 there to get a +1 or +2. Right. It's still not it's not horrible.
Right. So then we need a background.
Now I almost want to go noble, just off of
I wasn't seeing that at all. I mean, I understand where you're going because you're making the connection to Iron Fist specifically.
Iron Fist, Street Fighter.
Because now I was thinking let's make him a little bit more paladin-y. So I was thinking either go one end or the other in regards to the paladin, and either go soldier or go acolyte.
Yeah, both of them work as well. I feel like for the build, you could go anywhere with the background. The background isn't going to be as crucial.
Okay.
I just started coming up with story ideas as I was thinking about it. So
because the noble works well in the current the modern setting that Iron Fist is in. I don't see it all working completely the same way in a fantasy setting.
Well, here's my reasoning, right?
All right.
That opening scene I described, it's not just about him casting off his armor, and he's casting off his old life. He's casting off everything. He's kind of denying it, and at some point though, he's going to take on those paladin abilities again. So he's going to have to reinvent the old life and bring it back. So that's kind of, I guess it's kind of, to me it's like it's all like a metaphor for the character.
Okay.
Of casting off his old life, but yet having to rediscover it at the same time when he later on starts iron fisting shit, or Ken and Ryu style combat. So I guess that's kind of where I was going at. So we got 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. So a dump stat for this character, it's really hard. I almost want to say intelligence, but you really don't want to have a stupid character. Although an 8 isn't it's just slightly below average.
So,
but still, it feels like in D&D, slightly below average is You're
It's
almost like
it's a
special
negative.
needs.
It's a negative. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I talked about putting a 12 into charisma, so that gave us a 14 there. So if we put our 15 into wisdom
I would go Dex.
with Dex, see, to me that doesn't match as much towards Paladin.
But he's not that kind of paladin either.
All right. So we put our 15 into Dex, making it a 16. We put our 13. Do we have a 13?
We do.
So put our 13 into wisdom, making it a 14.
And then the 14 into con.
Put the 14 into con because that's going to be the most important. That gives us a 10 and an 8 between strength and intelligence. Now, the 10 should go into strength because that's technically what you have to be fighting when you're using that greatsword. But for the actual overall build, I would just say the 10 intelligence would be better, and you dump the strength. Although that makes no sense because he wouldn't be able to wear the full plate that he was wearing, unless you actually
Well, you couldn't wear it with the 10 either, but unless he's a mountain dwarf.
So true. So unless you're creating this character mid-story arc, where something happened to him to actually drain his strength, and it's more than just a mental and spiritual situation that has had him cast off his order, but possibly a physical one as well.
The only other thing too that I would think about is like doing the point buy and going for more averages, more average scores, and then you're gonna okay, well, I'm gonna have to work these up as I play,
right?
Or just go mountain dwarf. So you then can absolutely just dump strength and make it a 10.
Well, you could do that, but then you wouldn't get the other stat bumps.
That's true. But then you can put a 12 in your con and get a 14, and then you can put a 14 or a 12 in your charisma.
You just
14 in a
you
dex,
just want everything to be a mountain dwarf, and it doesn't always
10
work.
intelligence, 13. I think it works, man. Mountain dwarves are just better at everything. It's not their fault. I blame Watts. Watsy did it. They made the mountain dwarf too good.
So what do you guys think?
Oh, wait a minute. So you get a fighting style as a paladin at second level.
We already said that the only thing that'll work is dueling.
Did we mention that already?
We did.
I know we mentioned it off camera. I didn't know if we mentioned it on camera.
Okay. Well, if we didn't mention it, dueling is the only thing that's going to wind up working.
Well, yeah, that +2 to damage rocks. You never have a weapon in your other hand anyway, so it doesn't matter. Which is also going to, pump up your average damage as well. So, all in all, I want to play the Ponk. I'm stoked for the character build. There's just so many characters I want to play, and not enough time.
Use that comment section down below to tell Dave what's the proper way to do this, and that mountain dwarf is not the correct answer. What do you think of the Ponk? Let us know. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Can follow us over on Facebook.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.